What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. This week in the news today is pretty much the same old crap that's going on. Biden has lost. They got two choices. Either it's going to go to the Supreme Court and they'll have to deal with it, or it will be thrown into the House, which every state has one vote, and there are far more Republican states than there are Democratic states. So Trump will win it easily. So in the end, he's going to be in office another 4 years. Besides that, you had this big thing where apparently everybody's talking about on Twitter is the whole Tom Cruise blowing up on everyone that works for him at this Mission Impossible 7 movie set. And they got audio recordings of him. This is nothing new. We've heard this kind of story before. Christian Bale did the same thing several years ago. There's always some type of audio leak of some celebrity going off on somebody or whatever. My only thing is he's a little late on this topic. He should have been doing this, a year ago or better, instead of waiting until now to do it. So it is what it is. I could care less. It's kind of dumb. I don't know why everybody's talking big on it, because it's not really that big of a deal. I do have some news on a few reboots or remakes. There's several rumors going out about several different remakes and reboots. The first one that I noticed was the whole Fantasy Island thing, which Blumhouse just did an absolutely god-awful, horrible horror movie of Fantasy Island, which wasn't Fantasy Island whatsoever. It had nothing to do with the old TV series but the name. The television series did more genres of storytelling as an anthology series, where they did more than just one particular type of genre. Blumhouse tried to turn it into an all horror flick, which you can't do, because that's not the way the TV show ran. It did love stories, sci-fi, fantasy, action, not just horror. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone. Anyways, apparently they're going to reboot a new television series now, instead of a movie. Now, my problem with this is the fact that they just tried to reboot the television show Twilight Zone, and they tried to reboot the television show Amazing Stories from like the 80s and early 90s. Both of these sucked. They were just absolutely god awful. And you had that Jordan Peele running it. He's an idiot. He don't know. He's a hack. He can't even write. His movies bombed so bad it wasn't even funny. The dude's terrible. But anyways, regardless of that, I'm really leery about the Fantasy Island television series. I'm just afraid they're going to screw it up like they always do. The other thing I saw was that they're going to reboot the movie Revenge of the Nerds. Now, this is a classic comedy. I love that movie. The first one. The second one was and then the rest of them were just terrible. But the first one was really good. This is a classic movie, comedy. And they're going to reboot it, but what they're going to do is they're going to race swap all the cast, so it's all going to be black people. You ain't got to call it Revenge of the Nerds, just call it something else. Because it's not Revenge of the Nerds. You can't race swap everybody on the freaking dadgum script. It's retarded. That's not what the story called for. Dumb. Just dumb. So I'm not even going to bother watching it because I know it's going to be dumb. Every time they try that race swapping or gender swapping, it bombs. It doesn't do well at all. But that's what they keep doing. They're dumb. SJW writers are retarded. None of their shit works. Anyways, that's all I have for you in really big in the news today, or this week. Let's get on to your B-movie reviews. This week, Movieholics, we're back to doing Fantasy Week. Now I got two classic fantasy movies. One of them, I'm not really sure you would actually call it a classic. A lot of people have heard of it, but no one's ever really watched it, but a few people, die-hard fans. First one we're going to talk about is a British film that was done in 1976. It's called At the Earth's Core, and it starred Doug McClure, Peter Cushing, and Carolyn Monroe. Now, this is an Edgar Rice Burroughs novel that's been turned and adapted into a movie, a British film. It made about $2 million at the box office. I mean, it's okay. It did. I mean, it did okay as far as money goes. It probably just made its money back for the most part. Basically, the story is these two scientists, they decide to go to the Earth's core. Now, Doug McClure's character is more of like a businessman, not real, like almost an apprentice to the scientist. He gives him money. He's kind of like the rich guy who gives the inventor the money to invent his machines or whatever. And that's what he's pretty much done. The inventor, played by Peter Cushing, he invents a machine that allows them to dig into the earth. They decide to do this. At the very beginning, they take off inside the machine into the Earth's core, but as they're going through, complications happen. It gets too hot, they pass out, and then the next thing you know, they're going through some type of ice barrier or whatever, which they can't explain since they're so far deep into the earth. It shouldn't be cooled off. Well, apparently they end up into an inner chamber inside the Earth's core that's like another world, practically, like a tropical world. They get in there and they find out that there's these giant bird-like creatures that are controlling some of the tribes in the area. They have some type of mind power, some telepathy or some crap like that. telekinesis too. Uh, Anyways, they get in there and they end up. Doug McClure ends up helping the tribes kill off these bird-like creatures and saves the day. But unfortunately, him and his inventor or scientist buddy, they got to go back to his core. He has to leave the girl behind. He does meet a girl, a princess supposedly, but he has to leave her behind, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. As far as special effects go, the special effects were kind of an in-between of like a Godzilla type special effects and puppeteering. It was okay for what it was. You got what was going on, but it wasn't like grade A special effects. So I give it a 3. It was all right for back then. The acting was really good. I like Doug McClure. He's a good actor, so I definitely give the acting a good solid 3, maybe even a 4. It was pretty good, the acting. As far as the story-wise go, I mean, it's Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, it's not a bad story, but it's been done many, many times. Someone going to the center of the earth or whatever. So I give it a 3. It was decent. Overall, the movie's a solid 3. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up for a classic movie if you can handle some of the cheesy special effects. The rest of it falls into place. It's really good. Check it out. The next one we're going to talk about is actually a TV made movie. And not a lot of people know it's out there, but except for maybe some hardcore die-hard fans. It was done in 1978. And it's called Doctor Strange. A lot of people didn't know this movie was out long before, the 2018 movie Doctor Strange. So it started Peter Hooton. I never even heard of this guy. I've seen him somewhere before. I just don't know where. But he's the typical 70s curly-haired, 6-foot dude with a mustache. He looks like a porn star. And then you got Clyde Kasatsu, which I know him from Star Trek. He played an admiral on one of the Star Trek Next Generation. He played an admiral. And he came on several episodes, so his character is a pretty good character. I like this character on Star Trek. That's where I know him from. And then there's Jessica Walter. She played Morgan Le Fay. I don't know why it is. Like every time they have to have a sorceress or female wizard or some shit, it's always got to be Morgan Le Fay, no matter what it is, TV or movie. It's just nuts. But anyway, she's the most famous sorceress or whatever, so I guess that's why they always use her. This movie, the story basically, it's almost an origin story, sort of, but it kind of lacks in explaining a lot of what's going on. All you know is that Morgan Le Fay has been gone for 500 years. This demon master sends her back to Earth to destroy the light holder, which is Doctor Strange's master or guide or whatever. Anyway, her predecessor, I guess you would call him. Morgan Le Fay is either to destroy the master and then destroy the apprentice. She eventually figures out that Dr. Stephen Strange, which is actually an actual doctor, a psychiatrist. She figures out who he is, so she tries to kill them both. It doesn't work. She fails, and then Stephen Strange or Doctor Strange becomes the new gatekeeper for the light. Um, so that's pretty much the end of the movie. It's a decent movie. It's okay, but I thought it was really slow. I mean, it's really slow. There really isn't hardly any action. Special effects, yeah, it's really cheesy. Just a bunch of light shows, you know, like glowing hands and glowing people. It wasn't really that much of special effects. It was okay for what it was back then. I give it a 3 for effort. The story was very boring. I give it a 2. The story was just terrible. As far as the acting goes, oh man, the acting was okay. I'll give it a 3. It was decent. It was watchable. Even though I didn't like the main guy who played Doctor Strange, the rest of them were all right. Overall, this TV made movie, I give it a 3, or like a -3, because it was just barely passable. It was okay. It just wasn't really worthwhile. I'd heard about this movie for a long time. I just never bothered watching it because I figured it'd be pretty cheesy, and I was right. It's pretty cheesy, but it's passable. It's watchable. It's just really slow. I really didn't care for the story. It wasn't all that well done. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Check it out if you want to. It's mainly for die-hard fans, is what it is. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any comments about any of the reboots or anything I talked about earlier in this video, please leave a comment down leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you have any suggestions of any gems or hidden gems or movies or television I might not have heard of, you think I might not have heard of or have seen, please leave them down. Leave your suggestions down in the comments below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. That's it for this week. Till next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.